Hi everyone, this is Sebastian, KB0TTL with BridgeCom Systems. We've got a lot of questions here as of late as to how to skip a channel while scanning on your 878 handheld. So we'll go ahead and address that here today. There are going to be a few steps involved, and we'll give you a visual aid as well as to how to configure the push buttons necessary to do that. We have released a video previously as to how to create a scan list on one of these radios, which you'll need to go ahead and reference if you have not already by a Chuck K0XM, showing how to go ahead and create your scan list from within the radio, from within the CPS program, and how to add your channels in as your scan list. The function of today's video is basically, once you get your radio programmed up and you go to scan, how do we skip over a channel we no longer want to scan? I'm going to step outside here right quick and show you how to do that, as well as provide a visual of the buttons and which options to program in to start and stop the scan, and then also for the nuisance deletion or nuisance skip of the channel that you don't want to scan. What I'm going to do here today is I'm going to go ahead and define the buttons on the front of the radio that are going to start the scanning process, stop the scanning process. I'm also going to go ahead and define the button that we select for our nuisance delete. So basically what that's going to do is that is going to temporarily eliminate the frequency in question from the scanning procedure. Then of course if you power your radio off and back on again and you hit scan, that channel will be there again. What nuisance delete does is temporarily scrubs that frequency from consideration. So the first thing that we need to do is define the buttons that we're going to use to accomplish this. All right, we're going to go over here to optional settings and just click into our menu. We're going to go over to key function. And we're going to go ahead and define our keys here. And usually PF1 on the front of your radio or PF2, which are the most prominent keys on the front and the easiest to program up for something, are set for monitor, which basically eliminates squelch, and then I have PF1 selected for battery voltage, and we can select these for any other of the features here as well, just to predefine the buttons. I went ahead and I set this for the scan start and stop key, the P1 long key, and then the P2 long key I went ahead and programmed in as my nuisance delete button. So in order to scan, you're going to at bare minimum need a scan button to start and stop the scan, but I also recommend going ahead and putting a nuisance delete button in here as well if you're going to go ahead and use the scan function. Make sure to go ahead and write the changes, save the changes back to your radio, and that will conclude the little operation. And if you remove something from your scan list that you didn't really want to remove, just go ahead and power your radio off and power your radio back on. All right, getting started here today. What I've done is I've gone ahead and I've programmed in the 7 NOAA weather channels for the area, and one of these should go active. I've added them to the scan list, and what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and get one of the NOAA weather channels to come in, which is going to pause the scan list. Then I'm going to go ahead and push the nuisance skip / delete button to remove that from the selection. All of a sudden you're just going to see channels scrolling by and you're not going to hear the weather channel because it'll be omitted when I push the button. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here, I'm going to go ahead and put this over to the weather channels and I'm going to start scan. Now what I did was I used P1 over here, P1 long press. There's short press and long press. So I'm going to go ahead and use P1 long press, and it's going to stop on the first weather channel it receives. P1 long press, and it's a long press. Okay, so we are now scanning. Okay, now to stop the scan, I have to do a long press again. Yep. So we stop the scan, we're going to start the scan. And we're going to stop the scan with a long press. That's a long press. So it literally is a long press. Now, you get stuck on a frequency channel. Okay, so it's clearly stuck on channel 7 right now, which is the weather channel for the area. Now, to omit that, I'm going to do P2 long press, which I have as my nuisance delete / skip button. That's going to take it out of the running, out of the selection rather.
The showers after 1 p.m. Partly cloudy.
And we're actually receiving weather on 2 different channels out here. I guess it's just the location. We're up here in Smithville, Missouri, so we're actually receiving on channels 1 and 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and omit channel 1 now as well, using my nuisance long press.
Pressure was 30.20 inches and steady.
Okay, P2. Okay, now, you see it keeps on scanning. It's going through the channels here. It's going through them pretty quick. But I've omitted 1, and I've omitted 7. So you're not hearing national weather anymore because we've actually gone ahead and omitted them. So that is how to delete them on the fly versus having to go in and do it via the computer. And that concludes today's demo. Today we learned how to temporarily skip a channel on your 878 scan list. If you have any more questions about how to use the 878, be sure to click the tech support tab of our website up above. Thank you again for watching N73.